Good morning, everyone. As everyone is coming in, we're just going to wait a few more seconds before we start the webinar. Thank you for being here. All right. We have quite a lot to get through today, so without further ado, I will start the introduction to the webinar. So first of all, everyone, thank you for being here. This is a very interesting and very in-depth webinar on a service that is on the DestinE platform. Before I pass the floor to the partners who will guide you through the service, I'm just going to provide a few points on the webinar itself. So first of all, please note that the webinar is recorded and that then the recording and the slides of the webinar will be made available on the website, the same page where you've registered. You can find it there, and we will also promote it on the DestinE platform itself. Secondly, as you can see here, the agenda is quite packed. We have a first introduction by myself. I'm Diego Domenici from Chest IT Services, the contractor in charge of the website and communications for the DestinE initiative. Secondly, I will be handing the floor over to Barbara Scarda from Serco to introduce the role in the wider DestinE initiative and the main points related to the DestinE platform. And then we will move into the actual meat of the webinar, which is showcasing the Insula service and also a real use case that has been made use of the Insula service. So it's quite in depth, as we've said. So we have a lot to move through here. At any point during the presentations, feel free to write your questions in the chat. We have a short Q&A session near the end. We'll try to get through all the questions, but additionally, we will provide a short report on these questions, which will be then integrated into the Learning Hub. So with all that being said and done, thank you again for being here. I will now pass the floor to Barbara so she can start the introduction. Thank you, Barbara.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. First of all, thanks to Diego for the introduction, and many thanks to all of you for joining the third DestinE Platform webinar. My name is Barbara Scarda, and I work for Serco. We are under a contract with ESA to implement and operate the platform together with an industrial consortium. So before handing over to the colleagues from partner CGI, I'll take just a few minutes to introduce the DestinE platform. So the platform is one of the three components of the Destination Earth initiative of the European Commission, which is set to develop a digital replica of the Earth. And the platform, which is implemented by the European Space Agency, is in fact the entry point to DestinE. And it's designed to provide access to an ecosystem of services that tackle global challenges using advanced technologies. Now let's go quickly through the user journey on the platform, depending on your user type. So the first step is for users to join the DestinE platform. So on the web portal, you can find general information. You can register following a standard process to access selected services. You can find help in the support section and contact us directly from there. And from support, you can follow the links to the Learning Hub and the public roadmap. So a bit more in detail, clicking on services, you can browse through the catalog of all available applications and tools. You can filter them by category and find relevant documentation on each service page. On the Learning Hub, you can find a series of educational material that includes, for example, under training, the services video tutorials. And in particular, you will find 3 video tutorials for Insula, including step-by-step guides and a use case tutorial. And also the recording of this webinar will be published in the relevant section. And on the Learning Hub, will also find the demonstrators that also include climate claims and other resources. And finally, I had mentioned the public roadmap. This is where you can find a list of the recently released features, upcoming functionalities, and most importantly, ideas for improvements suggested by the user community. And this is part of our effort to stay transparent and make sure the DestinE platform evolves based on real user input. Now, once you've joined, as an expert user, you're ready to engage with the platform's advanced services. Under the DestinE data portfolio in the About section, you can learn all about the DestinE digital twins and browse the list of services on the platform that provide access to DestinE data. And in order to use these services that enable you to download DestinE DT data, you need to apply for upgraded access. So after signing in, just go to your profile and complete the form. Here you have the list of eligible categories. Another category of users on the DestinE platform are the contributors, therefore service providers who wish to onboard their services and applications on the platform for extended visibility, to join the community, and they also have the possibility to benefit from our cloud infrastructure. There is a dedicated section on the web portal called onboarding, where to find all relevant information and also the process in place for onboarding. And now concluding, we invite you to be part of the DestinE Platform community based on your experience, and follow us on the web portal or our LinkedIn page for the latest news and updates. And for the future, we will keep adding new services and new data sets with more and more innovative features and capabilities, with the aim to keep developing the ecosystem. So that wraps it up. If you have any questions, specifically for the DestinE platform, feel free to ask now in the chat or get in touch later by the contact us form on the web portal. Now I'll hand it over to Beatrice from CGI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barbara. I'm sharing my screen. Should be fine right now. So I'm going to presentation mode. Perfect. Welcome everyone also by my side. My name is Beatrice Gottardi, and together with Alessandro Marin from CGI, we will drive you through Insula, our platform, a service that is on board on DestinE platform. In particular, all the different components that Insula has. For example, we have Insula Perception, Intellect, Synthesis, and Insula Code, all different parts that have specific users and intentions. I will give the word, the stage to Alessandro for a brief introduction, and then we go back to me.
Thank you, Bea. I would like also to take the opportunity, thanks Trust IT and Serco, to coordinate and organize this webinar. My name is Alessandro Marin. I am a director at CGI. I am responsible for the space sector here in Italy, but mostly I am been in the past and the product owner of Insula. Insula is the name Insula. It's actually inspired of a part in our brain which connect the frontal cortex to the rest of the data collector in our body. And what we aim is to really be the hub between data and decision, or the frontal cortex where we take the decision-making part. So each of the different components are actually inspired to the way how we as a human have the capability to have perception, intellect, which means processing, perception, which means analysis, and also components like awareness and also AI. Our objective today is really to try to provide you with an overview of Insula capabilities, because Insula is part of the core service of the DestinE, and we really want to onboard you and to simplify you access to data processing capabilities, and offering you something which accelerate your onboarding inside the DestinE with your capabilities as a scientist rather than a service provider or a data provider. We are really looking forward to cooperate with you as we did with Eike, and also Eike will be part of this, our, let me say, onboarded already service provider. So we look forward to cooperate with all of you. Bea, the floor is yours.
Yes, so indeed, as Ale said, this service, this platform, Insula, is really useful for many different users, researchers, policymakers, industries, overall people that want to understand how the world is working through different stage of, let's say, science level and expertise. So let's go. In particular, on DestinE, we have two services that are onboarded. One is Insula code and the other one is Insula processing. Via this QR code, you can already enter to the registration page where everyone can actually register and start using it already from now. Let's go briefly through the two components, the main services. One is Insula code, and it's basically based on Jupyter notebooks. As many science side users may know, Jupyter Notebooks is very user-friendly, where you can develop and test your code. It's based on Linux. There you can create your own environment with specific, let's say, data science background. But it's really up to you. You can add your own package and start already developing your code. GPU is coming soon as well. So the ability of already testing your code on cloud, it's really a useful characteristic because normally EO data are a lot big. The size and the weight on your laptop can be quite challenging. So let's go directly on the cloud and test your code. Several languages are already supported, like Python, R, or Julia. There you can have access through dataset that can be already outputs of previous processing campaigns that you have performed on Insula. So through APIs, you can retrieve the datasets, but also from other DestinE services, for example. There are already tutorials present, as Barbara was saying before. Some codes have already developed there to avoid blank page effect, let's say. And you can already start there with a flexible environment, fast visualization of the output as the Jupyter Notebooks allows, and start experiment your code. From Insula processing, instead, there are three different components. One is Insula perception, where you can visualize your outputs or fast testing through UI that is very user-friendly. So you don't need to code. The user can immediately visualize all the outputs of the processing campaign, for example, but also upload different data. You can have 2D and 3D visualization. There are fast analytics, so you can interrogate the images. I will show you later. And also visualize time series, for example. It's quite interesting if you have, for example, to monitor a specific event on the planet. Insula Intellect instead is a component where you can create your own code, create a Docker file, for example, and integrate immediately your processing campaign inside. You can monitor your runs, you can test different part of your code and already scale up in time and space because the data are immediately available as input and the outputs are also fastly visualizable by Insula perception. Insula awareness instead is another component where you can, for example, manage your account, storage control of what you have already uploaded, the memory usage, these kind of things. There will be a coming soon component that allows you also to test your AI model. For example, it's also based on Kubeflow, and you can, for example, version your database. As you might know, if you are a data scientist, versioning and testing a new dataset, it's quite challenging, and monitor and have all the different datasets on track. You can, of course, tune your hyperparameters and scale your model, testing, doing different testing phase and inference as well. This will come soon, and it will be in the next future available for restricted user as, let's say, a beta phase for now. I finish my slides and I want you to drive immediately on the web page. So from the destination Earth platform, going to the service page, as Barbara showed, you can immediately see the two cards of Insula processing and Insula code that I will show you later. And going through Insula processing and clicking on go to service, you directly have access to the login page. And immediately you will see the production environment of our Insula platform. Right now, I want instead to go to the same the version of our platform in development environment because this is what is coming next. So new features are coming that probably you will not see immediately on Insula Perception on the production page. But this is nice for you also to see what's going next to come. So let's go to Insula Perception. In particular, here you can have data access of many, for example, typology of data set that can be already that are already integrated coming from other destination Earth services. For example, as you can see here, you have access on Aero5 and other ACMWF datasets that are created for this destination Earth project. Let's go, for example, on Sentinel-2. And for example, let's draw an AOI on the map. And as you could see, you could also search for data, timestamp, type of instruments, and other features that you might also be interested in visualizing. So, for example, here, one thing you can do is center on the map for actually visualize the footprint of the product that you want to focus on, and also save the product on specific folder. Let's call it demo, just random name. Let's add a new image to the folder now, demo. In this case, why you have to save it? Because you might need specific images for a processing campaign, for example, or you are more focused on a specific AOI and you want especially those images to select. And if you save in bookmarks in a specific folder those products, you can have access directly from here. So you don't need to go through the entire catalog again. And this can be also injected as an input parameter in a processing campaign, for example. So you have already your input ready to use. Let's go to intellect. We will come back to perception later. In intellect component, you can process already some data, you can monitor your processing, and for expert user, you can integrate your code, as I already told you. So let's do a fast demo. Here there is already processing, a processor, to run for user level. So the one that might access and register right now to Insula can already see a processor, so it can test and understand it better how the platform works. From here, this processor is very simple. It's basically putting Aero5 reanalysis data as input, specifying a specific time stamp to start, and I don't know, let's do 1 year of analysis over this AOI that I set. So the ERA5 data will be processed, and in this processing in particular, the evapotranspiration standard and the total precipitation weekly or bi-weekly will be calculated as output. In this label tag, you can create a naming convention. This is useful, for example, if you want to search your processors and your runs very fast. Once, for example, you have to process many data and you have a lot of runs and you want to separate them. Let's do a test run label. And you can also choose the name of the folder of your output. So you can choose also an output, a folder that it's already created. So maybe you want all the output in the same folder and you run your service. Every run will cost you some credits. The credits are, of course, editable and extend under request. But here in this case, this run will cost you 18 credits for so you can actually monitor how much you are consuming. Once the run is starting, you can follow the processing through all the steps. And of course, all this when all these steps will become green, the processing campaign will be finished and the outputs will appear. So let's go through some features here. Here in the input parameters area, you can visualize again as a reminder for you what you set as an input, the AOI and the start date and the date, of course. You can see your name here for sure because you will be the owner of this run. This is important to know because the run that you launch will be not visible from others. Only if you share the run will be like that. So imagine yourself as a team that wants to collaborate through a project, and you do different runs on different AOI, and you want to give access to anyone to the processing campaign and the output folders. So you have to be careful to share them, because of course we don't want that everyone in the platform knows what you have done, and every user is working on its own blank page, let's say. You can terminate your job, you can clone it if you want to repeat the computation, and refresh the page if you feel that it's in processing phase for too long. In the output file tag, you will see the outputs, of course, and there will be also logs print here. Right now, it's not visible because of security reason, but we are working on it, and it will be displayed in the future. We can go through a job that was already run this morning. As you can see, all the outputs are shown here. We have 104 items in the list. You can filter what you want to have. For example, I want only evapotranspiration. So I'm searching for 880. And of course, you can download the data, you can share the file, but also open directly to the perception component. So pressing here and going to the perception component, you can visualize your evapotranspiration, for example. This one was related to the first week of our processing campaign. But there, as you could see, you can visualize all the data you want. From here, from Insula perception, you can also play a lot. Here you don't need to code. The user is basically really interacting on the maps on the cloud. That's very interesting. You don't need to download anything to visualize and analyze already briefly some images. You can immediately look for them, changing, highlighting your let's say maps. And for example, you can change the color map. You want to be focused on a specific range of data. You can change the limits of your color maps, but you can, of course, change the color map itself if you don't like that color, for example. This is very interesting if, of course, you want to visualize differences better in your images. If you have more bands, in this case, this image has only one band, which means there is only one variable visualized. But if there are many bands, in this case, you can actually change also the order of the bands, how you want to visualize them, and you can play much more regarding that as well. From this area, you can also immediately interrogate your image through, for example, area statistics. In this case, I want, for example, to show you how I, for example, want to understand the evapotranspiration through different AOI. And so I will import an area. By the way, here it's already imported, but you can press here and apply, for example, the region of the entire Italy. In this case, you choose one of these AOI that are presented in the shapefile that I zipped and upload. Let's go with, for example, Umbria region, and pressing plus, you can also choose another one. Let's choose, I don't know, Marche, for example. In this case, these two evapotranspiration will be compared together by clicking on apply. Let's try again. This is live expectation. Let's see, I will try again. I don't know, let's go to Lazio. Okay, let's do it again. So,
Bea, there might be some issue on the borders, so which includes some non-values. So my advice would be to maybe compare in Umbria onto different dates.
okay, let's do it.
It might be that the case.
That's also a good point. So, let's go to Umbria. Okay. So we change the dataset. We are also on the dev environment, so this might be that's why it's having some issues.
Okay, we apologize, and we need to understand what is happening now. But it's a live demo, so
Okay, we can also try to do it like this. So area statistics, let's draw just a bounding box in the area, and let's do it on another bounding box. Perfect. So in this case, you can, of course, analyze what's happening in this bounding box and export also the data. So you don't need to pass through any code commands, just press here and export your plot. You can see the statistics here, the mean, max, and the variance of the both distributions. And this is very interesting for compare different areas, different variables, and so on. Let's go very, very fast into the awareness page, but I will not go into details. Here you can see to an area where you can manage your bookmarks, your uploaded data and processing outputs. For example, there are the two folders that I create in my runs, and your account, your profile, your balance, your credits that you still have left. It's very interesting the fact that you can access your storage areas here, because from here you can also give access to other people of your team directly from this area. Let's go into Insula synthesis. That's another component which is, in this case, created ad hoc to specific users. In particular, here we have two dashboards that elaborate a case study on specific Italian cities for, in particular, land surface temperature. In this case, we are working on land surface temperature and urban heat island. In the dashboard, we can create for you specific focus on use case related to, let's say, many shades of an event to monitor. You can, for example, create a different box that tell a different stories or evaluate the issue or the problem in different perspectives. And for example, in this case, we have a processed map of an urban heat island. You can, in this case, as well, work on the image like this. For example, you can create a transect and understand how the temperature and the urban heat island is evolving through the line. Imagine, for example, city administration wants to create a new road or understanding where to build a new park in the area. This can be also analyzed and studied here in a dashboard made like this. You can also visualize information through, as well here, different AOI, in this case, our neighborhood of the city, and you go through the plot as well, as I showed you before. In this case, for example, the same urban heat island is overlapped with the land use and land cover. So also understanding how the temperature is evolving depending on the difference of the land cover can be useful to see, or for example, going through 10 years of time series, for example, and visualize how the city environment is developing through time. Compare and understand a point, an area, or a neighborhood, how it's working. I repeat, this demo is made on development and environment, so it's a bit slower, but this is what it will be deployed in production very soon. Here as well, built up and green percentage compare through the the surface and also population, for example. So what I want to actually give you as an idea is that the dashboard is useful for people that really want to focus on specific task and specific issue, and you want to go deeply into the problem and analyze different cause and effects of the same issue. I don't have anything to add from Insula processing, but I can go through Insula code. That is the other service that is shown on Destination Earth. In this case,
Bea, if I may, just I want just to share from our perspective. So the way how we cover the different needs of the different communities. So we believe that data analysts can have a look at which are the data offered into the DestinE catalog, and they can have a look into the services which are available and start making processing of the data. We believe that into Insula Intellect, there will be the possibility to integrate your services and to make these services available to the community. We believe that for decision maker, we can create a low code with configuration, new vertical application like this one in Synthesis, and this will be absolutely easily integrated into Destination Earth. You can onboard your data into the platform as a data provider or as a service provider, and you can have fully control on who will have access to this data. So we are really looking forward to onboard you with the data into Insula, and please, Bea, proceed. And I'm looking forward also for your question and the rest. Please, Bea.
Yes. Thank you very much, Alessandro. And yeah, going back to the more coding phase, at the beginning, you might need to test your code before injecting your processing campaign in Insula Intellect. And here, just going through Insula code and go to service. You here go to service. If you are already logged in, it will start immediately the environment in the cloud. Here you have two main areas, but maybe if you are familiar with Jupyter Notebook, you can already understand it, how it works. This is quite easy to understand. You have your terminal to access through, but also let's go to the main, let's say, folder structure. It will be shown like this to new users. In the Platform Lab folder, there is a folder called Insula, and here inside you have already some tutorial, as I told you before, that can be already tested and analyzed. It's very interesting to know, for example, in this notebook called Draw Assessment, there is the first, at the beginning till the cell number 5, retrieval from Insula Perception, from Insula Intellect. The output folder of your processing campaign, for example, here. So you can really use this code to see what are the collection that you have produced, download them here directly without passing through your PC in local, and start doing and analyze this data in a more complete way. In this case, from evapotranspiration and total precipitation of a long time series has been developed a SPEI index monitor, which is just a multi-scale climate index that measures draw by combining precipitation and evapotranspiration standard. Really, I suggest you to explore, and if you have any issue or question, just come back to us. There are also from here all the information that you need, other video tutorials, and also a point of contact if you need any questions and clarification. I think I finish on my side. I can give the word.
Yeah,
to...
if I may, just a couple of additional information. So,
sure.
One of the key assets of Insula, it's for beyond what I mentioned before, which is the data control and access control and the compliance with all the guidelines and all the security guidelines from the DestinE platform, the security requirement and the layout requirement and all this compliance. It's also the scalability part. So Bea showed you an example. What happened in the background is that a set of nodes for each of the input has been created and allocated so that the service can scale up to the number of processing possibility that you have. Of course, we have also the possibility to limit the number of parallel processing that a single user can do. And in this way, we make sure that the resources are located fairly, but also we can allocate dedicated node for specific processor. And this will be also covered by HKL later, which has some peculiarity in terms of system specification. And then, yes, only this I want to mention. And we are really, in terms of interoperability, the platform is compliant with several OGC standards for the OGC application package to OGC process. We have also compliant with, of course, standards like WMS, WFS, and Stack Catalog. So if you have also an external data provider and you want to integrate additional data set by exposing Stack, it's also that a possibility. So I think that's it on my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think then I will share my screen as well. You should be able to see the presentation right now. Yeah, my name is Eike. I'm from the BKG, which is the National Mapping Agency of Germany, and I want to present to you today the first steps and our plans with Destination Earth and also with Insula. But before I continue with that, I want to give some context into what the BKG and specifically the project I'm working at is aiming to do. Yeah, the project I'm working at is called the Digital Twin of Germany. And the goal of the Digital Twin Germany is to provide a simulation and analysis platform for the federal administration of Germany by the end of 2026. And with that, we hope to provide value and insights generated through geospatial data to decision-making authorities. The project consists of three main parts, which the first one is the development of a technical platform. The second one is the development of a data offering, and we will come to that in a second. And the third component is the implementation of use cases. Use cases are brought to us by other federal institutions in Germany, and we work with them to implement use cases and drive benefits. The timeline for the project is the project started in August of 2022 with the setup and personal resources, and the project development will be done end of this year, and production is planned beginning of the next year. As I've mentioned, our data offering in Germany and especially at the BKG for this project, Digital Twin Germany, consists of three main pillars. The first one being the federal data already at the BKG and in other parts of the federal administration, which consists of the SDI Germany, and also many more data sets that we at the BKG produce or gather from local counties in Germany. Also, a big part of the digital twin is the 3D point cloud that we are currently in the process of gathering, and I will have some more details on that in a second. And the third pillar is the derivation of products from the 3D point cloud. So we aim to derive 2D vector or raster data from our 3D point cloud, because 3D data can be quite large and difficult to process, and those will be then shared with others as well. Yeah, our 3D point cloud data acquisition started in 2024, and it's a nationwide high-resolution airborne LiDAR scanning. Germany is divided into 8 area lots with different companies and also different sensors covering the area. And this will be done by, will be done by the end of Q1 this year. The approximate data volume is around 1.5 petabyte, and those then will be delivered to us and quality controlled at the BKG as well. Specifications on the LiDAR survey. We had a LiDAR survey in the Hamburg metropolitan area in the October of 2021 and February 2022 to assess the viability of the entire concept. And then we gathered or started the aerial survey for the entire part of Germany in 2024. The surveying period is March through October, because we are interested in vegetation data as well. So we want the forests to be covered in leaves, and we want to be within the vegetation period and not outside. The point density will be at least 40 points per square meter, sometimes or most likely in large parts even higher. The height accuracy is 10 centimeters, with the position accuracy being 20 centimeters. We are classifying into 12 different classes, so not only buildings and vegetation and ground, etc., but also stuff like transmission poles or stuff like that. During the survey of the LiDAR data, also RGB images are being taken, and those will be used for coloring the point cloud with RGB images or with RGB values as well. It is planned to renew this survey again in a couple of years. The details on that are not clear yet, but it is definitely useful to gather the same data set as well in a couple of years to also facilitate time series data analysis. Current progress is of the survey is 93%, and we hope to finish by the end of Q1 this year. With that, what are we doing with these data? And for that, I've brought some of the use cases we are working on currently. In general, we aim to derive useful information from our 3D point cloud, which you can see on the left side of these 3 images. In the middle, you can see the derived features we are deriving from the point cloud, such as buildings, trees, and cranes. And those objects and features are then used to work on use cases. For example, deriving flight obstacles or analyzing sound propagation for the placement of sirens, for example, or deriving tree species classification or tree species or tree details in general, something like height and volume of the crown, etc. And with that, there are a couple of use cases. I will go over them very briefly. Segmentation of roof surfaces, for example, is a interesting use case where we are, for example, could use those data to then derive solar potentials on roofs in Germany. The tree crown inventory is an interesting part as well, where we can segment individual trees and then derive 3D properties from them. The objects near waterways or near federal waterways could be as well interesting for identifying obstacles for ships, for example. The calculation of daycare accessibility, for example, is an interesting point as well, where we are linking points of interest, which is a data set already present at the BKG, with other data from a digital twin, and then calculate accessibility. Also, the identification and derivation of wind turbine properties could be or is an interesting use case. First, the instance segmentation of the wind turbines itself, and then also the part segmentation of specific parts of the turbine, such as the blades or something like that. And then also we can derive properties from those segments. The location or the evaluation of meteorological sensors is an interesting use case as well. How are meteorological sensors shaded, or how are they shaded from the wind, for example? Solar park properties is an interesting one as well, where we can derive module parameters such as height or inclination of those modules at the point of surveying them. And then also the derivation of potential flight obstacles is an interesting use case as well. Yeah, how are we building our workflows currently? Those use cases you just saw are all use cases we're actively working on with other federal partners. And currently our setup looks a little like that. We get our data delivery mostly on hard drives, actually. We do quality control on them. We check that the delivered data is up to our standards. They are then copied to a file server, and from there they are centrally accessed by our developers through workstations and desktop programs mainly. Scripts are written, analysis is being done, and then the data are being derived from our point cloud or other data sources, and they are then shared with our project partners in this case. And as you can imagine, this is a pretty cumbersome process, and also not really unified, since every workstation is set up a little differently, and environments are not the same, and etc., etc. There are many problems with this approach as well, which is why we took a look at DestinE. DestinE got our interest in this case, and we then thought it might be way more useful to cut the middle part of this processing chain and replace it with some parts of the destination Earth instance. We're planning on implementing our own instance of DestinE, and Alessandro mentioned the specific or the dedicated processing node of the Insula services, for example. It is not viable for us to upload 1.5 petabyte of LiDAR data to destination Earth, where we then would be able to process them. Instead, it is much more viable to use the processes or the dedicated node of, for example, Insula in our own infrastructure to then process our data locally here with the tools and with the unified access that Insula provides. Yeah, in touch, or how the process went. Yeah, we went researching for possible solutions on DestinE, and then also found the Insula processing family, or the Insula family of services. We did a little, yeah, we tested them. We then implemented a little use case there. We got in touch via the help desk to get some more resources and get also some help in the implementation of our workflow. And then we had regular integration meetings where we talked about current issues and problems that we were facing while integrating one of our use cases there. And yeah, I want to now walk through a process of creating a processor and then also of running a processor. And I've prepared some of our screenshots there. First of all, we open Insula Intellect and start the processing, start a new processor. We input some of our details, such as the name or the title, description, provider, and then we take a look at the sources panel, and there we can then upload scripts either developed on Insula code or as well on our local workstations that we already had. We're uploading our sources, such as a Docker file where the dependencies and the environment setup is being done, as well as a, in this case, it's an R script that handles the processing logic itself. Also the entry point, which then starts the R script on container start. And the next step would be to define inputs. In this case, our processor needs a digital surface model, which we uploaded to our own data folder, basically. The input of this variable here can then be defined on later on when running the processor. Here the inputs of this screen are then passed into the container in a file called fs step with WPS input properties. And from there, our R script, for example, could grab those input variables and process the data. In this case, DSM is being processed. Also, two variables called number of points and distance is being used to create data outputs. Then we define outputs as well. In this case, it's a simple geo package that then will be saved inside the container at the path I've written there. And this can then also be customized and defined however you like. When this is all set and done, we can click this little circle up there to build the container. The Insula processing is then going out and building the actual Docker file. When this is successful, we have the choice to request publication as well. This is a process where a processor being implemented, for example, by us, could be shared with other users of the platform. So work must not be done twice in this case. But this is a optional process that will also include a review by the Destination Earth team, or the Insula team in this case. After all that is done, we can switch to the run section of Insula Intellect and select our service and run the service. And this is something that was shown earlier as well. We input our variables that were defined earlier in the input variables, such as here the digital surface model, the number of points, and the distance, for example. We define our output storage destination with a label. This is optional, but can be helpful to find the data set later on. And then we run the service, and if everything goes well, we will get an output. And this output will then be available in the output folder to visualize, for example, as well in Insula perception. The lessons we've learned in this journey so far are that modularization of processing workflows are really important to maintain scalability and also the maintainability of the individual use cases. It is much more efficient to access data from a unified storage pool, contrary to many workstations of individual developers, for example. Also, a big point for us is that all developers are working with the same environment or with an environment that is defined by code, such as the Docker file shown earlier. And also the sharing with stakeholders is a much more direct process. We could onboard shareholders as well to the DestinE or the Insula service family, and they could then visualize those results directly on the platform. Yeah, that's something we've seen earlier as well. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to answer any potential questions.
Thank you, Eike. Shall we go through the questions?
Yeah. I suggest we go through the questions one by one. Barbara, I don't know if there is any comment from you before we go through that.
No, not really. I've noticed that you already replied to some of them, but let's go through them.
Yeah. Okay, so the first question was, it is possible to share in a group or to share with everybody, or you share with everybody. So as I said, so basically you have the possibility to create group as a user of Insula, and you can share within a group, and you also have control in the type of access, in the sense that you can provide read permission or also write permission. In this way, you decide the level of cooperation. It can be just a publication, it can be just, or it can be also a cooperation. And this is valid for processor, job results, and also collection, which are created. When I say collection, it means data that you upload on the platform. It means data which are generated within the platform by a processing company. For what concerns the publication to everybody, as was mentioned by Heike, there is a publication request, which means that there will be a content authority together with Serco, with and ISA, because as you know, this is a project from the European Commission. And so if somebody wants to make public available to the full community, there will be a review, because we want to make sure that the content are in line with the European Commission policy. I hope I replied to this question. Okay. The second one is, where is the synthesis module? I can find it only intellect, perception, and awareness. As was mentioned, so in this moment, synthesis component, it's available only on the development environment, because it is under the security scan and the process which of onboarding of new services. We are looking forward to offer that also to the entire community, but please feel free to contact us for update specific, we will provide this. Of course, this news will be also shared once it will be available. We foresee beginning of March, if that, because
Correct.
as you can imagine, the process is quite important for security check and all the rest. The GUI you are presenting is impressive. Thank you. How did you design its feature and UX? Did you interact with scientific community? How are you going to keep them engaged? So First of all, thank you. We have a team of experts in data analytics, and the expertise that we have developed, it's built upon a long series of projects, interacting with the SEMWF, interacting with the ESA NASA, interacting with the Mission Explorer as well, which means that also 3D visualization, it's also something that we support, and even if we didn't show. So we have interact with the also, let me say, scientific community, for example, for the Explorer mission to build the visualization capability. Insula, it's also used in, it's a product of which offer in several other ESA and NASA activity, and we are cooperating also with NASA, for example, for biomass, and also with JAXA for air care. So we are really in touch with the different community, and we are really looking forward to also receive feedback from you in case there is the need of additional functionality. How do we keep them engaged? It's by talking with them and by using our platform and collecting feedback from them, and that's what we do. About NASA, NOAA, EcoStress, MODIS, and Vernier.
Yeah, I can go through this.
Yes.
Sure. Before, briefly, I was showing you WMS connection, and there is accessibility also through via that tool. In particular, I checked right now MODIS and Viris for sure. EcoStress I don't see. It might be that in the future this will change, but for now, for example, EcoStress is not available. I also didn't see EUMETSAT MTG dataset. That can be a feedback for us, and we can use it for sure. The interoperability exists, OCZ service and ESA OpenEO are also included, as Alessandro said before. How to prevent certain user from gaming the system to monopolize the compute resources and experience.
Maybe I can take this one, Bea. So as I mentioned before, we have, of course, resource control in terms of platform as a service, and we have control on how many parallel jobs each user can launch. We can have also dedicated node pool for specific purpose. So the platform is capable to manage queue of requests, to allocate new resources where needed, and make sure that user use the resources in a fair way.
Yes, I want to add also something. If you don't see any input data that are already there, I mean, in your code, in your processing, you can also access external information, external dataset, your own dataset that you need for your specific case. So it's very flexible, the environment in terms of data sources. There is another question to Eike. Maybe you can go through that. Thank you.
Yes, sure. The question was, what are high-level issues you get when using DestinE data and platform in a national program like German Digital Twin? And I would say the main issue is practicability. So as I've mentioned, the uploading 1.5 petabyte of data to DestinE is something that is not doable by us, and also data sovereignty is something that we discuss a lot at the BKG. So we want to be able to still be in control of our data, and especially this high-value data set. And so the viable solution for us is to bring the processing steps to the data and not the other way around. Yeah.
There is another question. Hello, Alessandro and Beatrice. Thank you for this visual presentation. Guys from the province of St. Holland here. We also have a library of example analysis which you can process on the platform. So, hi, Thais. Thanks for your message. Yeah, we have shown different examples which are available as soon as you trigger a Jupyter Notebook in the environment of the Insula code. And there are already different GitHub repository with all the example with the exploitation of DestinE data. So feel free to explore them and to get back to us in case you would like to have any clarification on that. And I hope everything is fine with you.
Other two questions. Do you need an ESA or EU project to be able to use the platform?
And Barbara,
yes,
maybe you can get that one.
Registration is open to everyone. If you need to upgrade your access, then there are some eligible categories, and the process is actually managed by the European Commission. So I invite you to register on the platform, create your account, and if you need upgraded access to be able to download digital twin data, then go and check the form that's available for you after registration to initiate the request.
So to reply to that question, I would say it's no. But if you need specific access, then feel free to contact us.
There might be restrictions, but it's actually quite open to private sector, public sector, and so on.
About the resources which are available, so as mentioned by Bea, once a user is logged into Insula, he will have a profile of an analyst, so we will have access to the perception and intellect for processing, and he will have an account with it's a test account with 5 giga disk space plus 50 credit, but it's just for us it's really a snap to upgrade this level. It's we are also encouraged to upgrade that, so feel free to contact us by explaining what you would like to do, and also if you want to integrate the processor, we will provide you access to intellect. It's really it's smooth, the process, and it's really, we can extend like in the case of ICAP, we extend the permission in after receiving the request. So we are also happy to support you from the engineering perspective. If you want to have a co-design session to understand what is the quicker way to integrate your use case into the platform, we are absolutely happy to support you in that. Okay.
Any more questions from the audience? It looks like you've been exhaustive. Yes, just wanted to add that we will get in touch with a follow-up email to all attendants and registrants with a link to the recorded webinar. And we will also provide you with a feedback form, just 4 or 5 questions that might help us understand the audience and the needs of the audience. So we would ask you to fill it in. It will be something very quick to fill in.
And useful for us as well.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much for your time. Don't forget to keep an eye on the news and events page of the DestinE website and to follow us and DestinE Platform on LinkedIn. Thank you all very much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.